Hello everyone. In this tutorial, we will talk about how to use selections and what can be done with selections. Okay. In Photoshop, you have three sets of selection tools. One is, all kind of marquees here, which let you select in geometric shapes, rectangle, ellipse, single row, and vertical row, horizontal row and vertical row. Then there are the lasso tools, which actually give you the capability to make more free-form selections, okay, which might not even be geometric. Okay, and then there are the quick selection and magic wand tool, which help you make selections in a more automatic manner. Okay, but let's work only on the marquee tool. The way selections work in marquee tool, they would work pretty much the same way if the selections are being made by the lasso tools or the magic wand and the quick selection tools. Okay, so let's take the marquee tool and let's make a rectangular selection around the pumpkin. Okay, now when you make the selection, it essentially means that if you transform the selection, so if you change the size of the selection, only the area which is uh, which is surrounded by this line of marching ants would be changed. If you are applying filter to it, if you are changing color to it, all those things would be applied only to the selected area. Okay, the pumpkin and the surrounding area, which is which is defined by which is depicted by the line of marching ants. Okay, so let's do something here. Here is a layer on the layer palette. If you can't see it, you can just go to window and click on layers and you will see the layer palette. Okay, here you will see this this picture, the small icon, the picture on it, and a lock on it. Just double click on it to unlock this and click OK, and you will see that the lock is gone. Now you can do a lot more things with the picture uh, when the layer is not locked. So let's start with applying filters to the selection. Okay, so first let's go to filter, select any of the filters here. So I plan to select the watercolor filter, and when you select that one, you will get a filter panel, okay, which will show how the effect will look on the selected area. So this is how the watercolor effect will look, and I like it. I'll just increase the texture a bit, um, and I'll increase shadow intensity a bit. It becomes kind of a bit darker, increase brush details a bit. Okay, and then I click OK. You'll now see that in the picture that filter or that watercolor effect has been applied to the selection and not to the area which is not a part of the selection, so rest of the picture that would be. Now let's do something else. Let's transform the selection. Okay, so let's make it bigger and see if that affects the rest of the area or not. So go to edit, transform, scale. When you select scale, you will see this menu here. Now in this menu there's W and H, which depict width and height. There's this angle icon, which depicts, let's say, the rotation options. So if you want to rotate the picture rotate the selection, let's say by 20%, you put 20, and you will see here that the selection has been rotated. Okay, but we don't want to do that, so let's uh, make it 0 again and go to width here and change it to 120%. So that would mean that the width has been increased to 120% of the original selection. However, you would also notice that only the width has been changed and not the height. So it has been stretched horizontally. Okay. Now I want both the width and the height to to move together or to vary together. So I click on this link here, and you would see that uh, now both width and height have been moved to 120%, and the selection has been transformed in a proportional manner. Okay. Now another thing you can do with selections is that you can move them to other files, or you can move them to other parts of the picture using the move tool. So here on top of toolbar is the move tool. Let's click on this, and it asks apply transformation, and I applied the transformation, which was essentially increasing the size. So after I select the transformation, the move tool, I get this black arrow. I select the selection, and I move it to the tab here, and I drag the picture here. Okay, you'll notice that the picture grows bigger, and there was already a small picture of pumpkin, but that was from another exercise. So let's focus on this picture of pumpkin. uh, Now that happened, the pumpkin picture became bigger for simple reason that here you were seeing the picture at 33%, so the selection looked this big. But when you moved it here, the zoom is at 100%, so now you look at selection at 100%. Okay, so now let's make the selection smaller. So click on the selection, and click with the move tool on the handle on the corner. Press shift so that height and width are constrained, and they move in the same ratio, same proportion. Then I move it here, move it further down, and you'll notice that the selection has been moved to this picture, to this document. Okay, now coming back to this document again, we have seen how the filters and effects can be applied selectively, how the transformations can be applied effectively, selectively. Now another thing we can do is let's change the color of the let's change the color of the selection selectively. Okay, so here I have this color balance palette, which lets me let's say increase different tones or different colors in the picture. So here I change this and I click OK, and you'll notice that the changes have been applied only to the selected area. Now let's say we want to apply the effects to rest of the area and not to the selection. Okay, in that case we can click on select and select inverse. Now what happens that when you apply select inverse, everything else than the selection in the document is selected. So right now rest of the picture has become the selection, and the pumpkin is not selected anymore. And that would show if you apply the filter, let's say. So let's say I apply a filter and I decide to go with let's say rough pastels. Okay, now you can see the preview. I just increase the stroke length and increase the stroke detail so that the filter becomes more obvious. I click OK, and you will now see that the effect has been applied to areas which are which were part of the inverted selection. Okay, so you can also delete the selected area. So let's say you want to delete rest of the picture and keep the pumpkin. So now rest of the picture is selected. So if you hit delete, you'll see that rest of the picture goes away. Okay, I'm hitting Command Z to bring the deleted part back, and I again select inverse. That again makes or selects the pumpkin, which was our original selection. And if I hit delete now, that takes away the pumpkin but retains the rest of the picture. Okay, now you will notice that the selection is still active. I hit Command Z to bring the the deleted picture back, and I hit Command D, which is to deselect, and you will see that the that the line of marching ants have gone and the area has been deselected. Okay, so those are some of the basic things you can do with selections. It's a pretty useful tool, a pretty powerful thing which Photoshop lets you do. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial. In the following tutorials, we'll talk about how to use specific selection tools. Thank you.